It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. That's right. We find out the Titans' full 2023 schedule tomorrow, but we do already know the 2023 matchups taking place in Europe, and the Titans will face the Baltimore Ravens at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in Week 6. That'll be October 15th in London. Also, the first ever Black Friday game in NFL history will be Jets versus Dolphins on November 24th. Titans officially handed out rookie numbers from the 2023 draft class. Among them, first-round pick Peter Skoronski will wear 77, and quarterback Will Levis to wear number 8. Tonight, Nashville Soccer Club hosts FC Dallas in the U.S. Open Cup round of 32 at Geodis Park. Kickoff at 7:30 in this elimination game. NSC Backstage will hit the air live right here on The Zone from Geodis Park at 8 p.m. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once and your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. What's up, everybody? Happy Hump Day. It's Leland Stadium. Leland Stadium. Leland Stadium. I don't know why I always want to call him Leland Stadium, like Neyland Stadium, but Leland.
30 years at the station, right?
Yeah, he's celebrating a big milestone today. But as he says, Happy Hump Day. So happy anniversary to him as well, Mr. Leland Stadium. The Leland Neyland Stadium and Leland Stadium. Just roll off the tongue too easy next to each other.
Neyland and Leland, both legends.
Neyland and Leland, yes.
Yeah, that's why I stay away from stuff like that.
Now, he's a Tennessee guy, right? I think Leland is. Somebody can check and correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like we were having a discussion one day. Late in a game, they panned the crowd, and it looked like Leland. And I took a picture of it on my phone and tweeted it out, and everybody kept saying, that's Leland.
He did go to the University of Tennessee.
Okay.
He did?
He did.
Leland Stadium and Neyland Stadium.
With an emphasis, Bachelor of Science in Communications with an emphasis in News and Public Affairs at UT Knoxville. And then he got his Certificate of Broadcast Meteorology from Mississippi State.
Yeah, there's a few. Western Kentucky does that. It used to you just go and you get a broadcast degree, and if you wanted to do weather, you were a weatherman.
Yeah,
and
but he's like an
be
actual weather, like a legit weatherman.
Yes. Like in my little home station, we always had a weatherman. And then one day they recruited in somebody who'd been to meteorology school. So a bunch of those people do that at Western Kentucky. So if you want to be a meteorologist, do that. If you want to see the Jags, you got to go to London because they're going to play 2 games this year. And if you want to see the Titans, make plans for October 15th, Week 6, the Ravens in London, England.
Ooh. Oh.
Who'd you think they were going to play there?
Robert going?
Robert gets to go.
He's very upset that game is not happening
At home.
down the road.
No, this is just a greater opportunity for Robert.
Well, naturally, the NFL, it was going to be somebody prime time on the other team. So Lamar Jackson can't get any better than that after signing the big contract. I think the biggest as of today, right? Per year. I'm sure that's going to change here in the next 6 months before the season starts. But, yeah. So, I'm always a big fan of the Ravens, so that may get me to go over there. A big fan of beating them.
So
people asked me that. Somebody asked me that today. Cool Ray, by the way, had their ribbon cutting today, so I was the MC. So that was a really cool event. Somebody asked me there is, they always talk about the Super Bowl loss, and I go, man, that's not the one that pains me. It's the freaking Ravens the next year. We lost in the second round. I said that pains me because guess what? We knew we were dominant. We knew we were good. That run we went on the Super Bowl. We gained confidence as the season went along, and we had our own home field. There was a lot of things that came together, our own uniforms, new jersey, all that. And granted, we did make it, but the next year, the confidence level of how dominant we were was at a different level. Yeah, so that pains me. So anything about the Ravens, I don't wish any bad will, but when they play the Titans, no way, no how.
What was that off season like? I don't think I've ever asked you this. After the Super Bowl, because like you've always said, we kind of built our confidence as the season went on. We just kept thinking, oh, my gosh, we're getting better and better. We're all coming together. What was the off season like that, though, after the Super Bowl when you guys were like, okay, now we know we're good?
No, dominate.
Okay.
And that it was not a successful season if we didn't win the Super Bowl. There was no question. On the offense end, that especially amongst us leaders and captains of the team, myself, Eddie. I mean, Matt, Eric. I mean, we vocally talked about it within the locker room that we were going to get a Super Bowl win. Yeah, it was no doubt. I mean, it didn't even seep in our brains. And then you would go out there and we just dominated. It was easy then. Wasn't we having these close wins here or there, like the year before, and then we kind of gained momentum. And then when Air came back, then we kind of took off at another level once he got there. But the offense, the off season was like training to we're going on this long run to get the Super Bowl. Yeah, it was fantabulous, but it hurts. So, people think that's strange to hear, just from, and I get it, from outside looking in because you made it to the final game and that's really should be it. But it really wasn't, that team was progressing and it was a build up in the process to going 8-8, 7-9, 9-7 those times. And then finally getting the home stadium fans and the new jerseys. It just kind of came together and then getting the freak really changed the entire, not just the defense, but the team and the scope of what we were doing.
Undefeated at home that year, in the new stadium, in the new uniforms.
Yeah, that was something easy. Coach Fisher always would talk about that. We go undefeated at home and split on the road. We're going to win 10 games, so we know we're better than that. Mm-hmm. So he made it, the math, easy. So it seemed like it was nothing.
Well, the Titans were going to get one of these teams in England: Ravens, Bengals, Falcons, Panthers, Chargers, Seahawks, Texans, Colts, or Jags. It was going to be one of the home games for the Titans. It is the Ravens, though. They played the Chargers the last time they went over there when they lost on a pass to Taywan Taylor. I think it's surprised a lot of people.
Was that Vrabel's first year or second year? Oh, he was here.
He was here.
Yeah.
And that was going for 2 at the end of the game.
And he didn't give the ball to Henry.
He did not.
Yeah, I was irate. I think that was his first year.
Our crack staff of Lucas.
I'm gonna just make a guess that was ding dongery. That was first year gasp. Remember he made the statement, I'm gonna go for it every time on 4th down. Remember he made that? I said, you can't make that statement. What do you mean? Every situation is different. You can't say we're going for it. I'm building a mentality. Well, when you keep doing that and you don't get it, you mean building a mentality of losing. So he kind of slowed that process down. I don't know if he was just answering the question literally because he didn't like the question, but he didn't keep going for it. He was strategic and learned, when to go for it and when not. Maybe most of the time after that was making great decisions on it.
You are correct, sir. 2018, year 1 of the Mike Vrabel era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He went 9-7, which followed the year before when Malarkey went 9-7. The game in England was October 21, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That was the 7th game of the season. They were 3-4 after they lost that.
Went for 2 at the end, it was Taywan Taylor, right?
Yeah,
at the back of the end zone.
Thanks for joining the conversation that we said. Were you talking to
You'll shout it out, Taywan.
Yeah, he already said that, but I was wondering if he was talking to somebody when he said that. Yeah. And that kind of goes into the ding-dongery of wide receivers. I mean, because you're throwing to him and not giving it to the best player on the football field or try to get it in his hands, which is your running back. Do they believe that this receiving core is good enough? The organization and the coaching staff, based off their moves, what do I always say, Mickey? Their actions
not words.
Tell you what they think. And their actions are telling you that they think this wide receiving core is good enough. Now, I beg to differ just like I did last year, but if they change their offense, I can't say that they won't be more productive. But they're putting a lot on the weights of Burks and Chig. And that's a dangerous, dangerous deal there, man. Yeah, you're talking about young players. They gave you a glimpse. If you doing that, then you should have played him more last year. And I know Burks was there a little different because he got injured, but you should have played Chig. Remember, there was a point in time, he would go games, they didn't even target him. I go, what are they doing? And it was pretty clear he was a better receiving guy
than anybody that
they had.
And we don't do post game anymore, but on the pregame every week it'd be like, well, what if they gave Chig like 5 or 6 targets today?
So, I mean, maybe they saw it now after they go back and watch the film.
Well,
after he did what he did against Kansas City and he took that ball and ran, I don't know how far he ran after he caught that ball. What was it, 80 yards or something? It was long. I was like, hey, they need to get that cat the ball.
48 yards.
Yeah, well, it felt long because he was a tight end. And I was like, he is the biggest weapon they got as far as receiving.
He didn't hit 5 targets until the Bengals game,
which was week one.
like Thanksgiving week.
See? Yeah, it was, man, I was a little perturbed with that. So they better come through him and Burks. Because the other guys are complementary pieces, but those guys are going to have to play at another level. Yeah. Because I think this is they rolling. I think they're rolling with this group. Unless they pick up somebody off of, cuts in training camp or right, after June 1st. Yeah. I think they're very comfortable. With a better offensive line, they think that and a little different twist to their offense on the passing game, they think they're fine.
That's scary to me.
Yeah, it was scary last year. I was like, oh, I know they're going to do something. Mm-mm. Now, imagine if Phillips stays healthy and becomes a decent player, because in his short area quickness, he is pretty fascinating. That's why you kept saying when you're talking about draft one of the shorter guys like Downs, or somebody said, well, what are you doing with Kyle Phillips? He is no joke now. He is legit.
He's actually bigger than most of those.
They say, oh, he dropped punts. How about you go try to catch a punt with your shoulder jacked up? That's what happened. And they forced him out there. I'm telling you, I returned punts. Having one shoulder and you don't have the mobility, you'll try to change and move your body different ways, and it's just not going to work, especially in the NFL when the ball is kicked way higher than it is in college. So everybody's talking about his confidence. I don't think he lost confidence. He lost confidence in his shoulder because he couldn't do the things he was normally doing. Dude been catching punts for his life. Go watch him, guy. He's fine. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, let me go tackle Henry with a banged up shoulder. You're going to try to hit him with the other shoulder and then might miss him. Mm-hmm. That is what I'm talking about. Because you're trying to protect your bad shoulder. That's exactly what he was doing there. There's no confidence loss. This guy knows. He knows how to read the ball, the tip of the ball, when it's going to go away from him to him. I didn't see him drop a ball all camp until he got in a game when he was playing injured. Mm-hmm. Yeah, catch one with a flat jacket on. So he's fine. So, yeah, I think he may be more of an impact than people think. I really like his skill set, and I said that going into camp. I want to see what he look like if he stay healthy. That is a question, though. Can he stay healthy?
I think Rand and Vrabel are banking and thinking exactly the same thing you are. Like, we saw what this guy did at camp last year. He's going to be way better than people think.
See, I don't even like that statement, though. Banking and what is the backup plan? You always got to have. What happens if he's not?
We spent the whole year looking for 2 years now looking for a backup plan.
Oh, okay. Waiver wire? Oh, wait, yeah, because he said it was going to be a lot of cuts. It was 5 cuts.
5 total.
I'm like, man, dang, man, he kind of insulted our intelligence there. Like, we're not going to keep track of this? I was waiting for some big cut, man. He duped me.
You thought really like, this dude knows something.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, I'm waiting. Where is it? I felt like Lucas for a second. I got duped. I got bamboozled.
Hoodwinked.
Yep, hoodwinked.
You know what else? You talking about Chig? He didn't have 5 targets until the Cincinnati game.
Thanksgiving.
He had 5 targets, 6 targets, and 5 targets in 4 games in a row. And then he never hit 5 targets again in the last 3 games when they desperately needed to win. They went back to not targeting Chig. They didn't target him. He got 2 and then 4 and then 4 to finish out the season.
And he scored on that wheel route in the Jags game at the end of the year.
Yep, that's what perturbs me.
Well, the assistant tight ends coach is now their offensive coordinator, so he knows what Chig can do.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he was in there. He saw it. He had a pad, and Chig used to block him at practice. I have pictures of it.
You do. But they are talking about there's some tweaks, so I can't wait. I can't wait to see these tweaks.
Can't wait.
They look good in practice and everything else, and then when it doesn't work, and then Vrabel says don't run that again, then it's not going to look so good.
Well, here's what we need to run. We need to run to break as we come back. Jason Simpson, he is the coach at the University of Tennessee, Martin, and he's going to tell us about the newest Titans wide receiver, Colton Dowell, who he had the pleasure of coaching many years down there. We're going to get all the inside scoop on the Titans' 7th-round draft pick receiver next.
Titan.
Blaine Mickey 1045 The Zone. Efforting Coach Jason Simpson. He is Coach underscore J at Coach underscore J Simpson, University of Tennessee Martin football. So hoping to get some more inside dirt on Colton Dowell, who's the Titans 7th round pick at wide receiver.
No doubt, no doubt. And, we got some good conversation here. A lot of people are saying Todd Downing taught Kelly maybe what not to do, which theoretically seems right. But once again, we will see how much leash Vrabel has with letting them play the game out. The one thing about Downing to me, only thing that seemed glaring to me is I think he came in with a good game plan. I think when the game plan shifted and he had to make adjustments, he did not. Now, I don't know if that was more him or Vrabel just say stick with the game plan or what. But that was the main issue to me with Downing, not adjusting to actually that's why after halftime, they would always have issues. They go in, they're making adjustments throughout the first and second quarters. And then now they figured you out in what you're doing. Now it's verbalized to them. In halftime, then they come out and then they make their adjustments. Well, then you must make your adjustments. And I don't think he ever made adjustments. So that really, other than that, they always started their games well, just after halftime, like, dang, remember that they went a minute for not even scoring a touchdown.
Do you want the numbers?
I know you had them.
I still
you put them out of your database.
I've been carrying them around all week.
All week? No, you've been carrying around all 6 months.
Oh yeah, I mean, I copied and pasted them on my list of things. I'm trying to do the Mark Howard, just have the master list of things.
Oh,
God
man.
bless you,
What
Mark.
was that?
Miss you. Titans 2nd scoring.
Wow, this is awesome.
For the whole season, they scored 94 points in the second half. The entire season.
So, okay, math guy.
5.52 points per game in the second half.
Oh, that.
In the second half.
Remember, I knew it wasn't even 7 points.
Here it is per game because I started tracking it midway through the season last year. Titans second half scoring. This is going to make you sad. 7, 0, 0, 0, 7, 6, 10, 3, 10, 13. That was the high water mark. Never 2 touchdowns in a second half. They never even got 2 touchdowns. Here's how they finished. 6, 0, 8, 7, 7, 7, and 3.
3 against the Jags.
They never got 14 points in the second half of a game. And 1, 2, 3, 4 times they scored 0. They scored 3 in 2 more games. So 6 times they scored 3 or less. Like you said, they came out and had nothing.
No adjustments. I mean, like the team wasn't bad like that. No way. It's just like, man.
You want more?
No.
I got more. Let me tell it to you because it's in my notes.
Man, you making my stomach starting to hurt now, man.
I'm gonna tell you because we still don't have
Bring
the codes.
back old memories.
So I'm just gonna tell you because this is all in my notes. This was some Associated Press stats that I was keeping up with. The Titans went 3 and out a total of 59 times. That was on the season. Here you go. They started the third quarter 12 times by going 3 and out. In 12 of 17 games, they went 3 and out to start the third quarter. They were shut out 7 times in the third quarter and 10 times in the fourth quarter of games. 10 times they scored no points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, this is why they took me off the post-game show.
You have steam coming out of your ears.
Come on, man.
These are all real things. Do you want more scoring stuff? I got it. I put all this in my notes this week.
Just give me all this diarrhea now.
Okay. And if we don't get Coach, Lucas, I know you got the audio of what Ryan Tannehill said, that it's a different offense, different terms, everything. This is some more stuff. The Titans were 1-9 last season when allowing 19 or more points. So if the other team scored 20, they were beating the Titans. That's it. 20 was the magic number. The Titans only scored 20 or more 6 times in 17 games.
Do you know how hard that is for the defense? You know how much pressure you're putting on the defense. I don't care how good your defense is. This is not 2000. It's really hard, and they almost did it. Till they start breaking down. You know why they start breaking down, guys? too many plays. They were playing double the amount of plays. Remember, I remember I would start giving the example how I used to see Dyson and them leaving, and we just at halfway through watching the film. I was like, and he's just up there smiling. Dude, it's not funny. Bro, we play double the amount of plays here. That's a problem.
Yep.
Dude. And when that starts happening 2 and 3 weeks in a row, boy, first it's funny, then it becomes, oh, this is BS. It's BS, man. Y'all ain't earning y'all checks, bro. They need to play us double. Hey, man, y'all need to pick that thing up. Watch this. I don't care what they call win in spite of the coach. See, we had some OGs that would be like, we're going to check the call at the line. Yeah, this ain't working, bro. See, I don't think Vapor roll like that. Why'd you change that call? Go sit next to me.
You changed a couple of calls.
Oh yeah, I definitely changed some calls. Man. I always took the blame. I said, "Hey man, I'll take the. Hey, Greg gonna cuss me out regardless anyway. Don't even matter. I mean, yeah, he had diarrhea of the mouth. Yeah, so it didn't matter, man. So I mean, yeah, that is not good, man.
During the final 7-game losing streak of the season, the Titans scored 16 points, 10 points. They hit 22. Then 14, 14, 13, and 16.
Oh, dang, right here. Who is this? JEL. Titans media refuses to ask Rabe about all these terrible stats, Mickey. Yeah, once again, that's why I'm not on Titans postgame.
I mean, he's been asked a lot about the
And
offense.
we still almost made the playoffs. Ha, 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 Lonzo, right?
He's
We
right,
did.
though.
Yeah, no doubt.
They win one out of the last 7.
Oh, if they would have won, just won the last one.
That would have gotten them in. At 8-9, they would have won a division. The Jags would have been 8-9 also. That would have gotten them in.
And this is why they think they don't need no receiver. Because they were like, hey, man, our offensive line was putrid. We're way better than that now.
We had 86 guys miss games. What if it was only 66?
Well, I don't know if they say that because if it goes 3 years in a row, has it been 3 years in a row that they messed up or only been 2?
It's been 91 and 86. If it happens again this year, if they go 85 guys or whatever this year, what are we doing?
It becomes an issue. It's not bad luck anymore. No way, no how. And I get guys tearing ACLs and stuff like that, but these other injuries something's not right. I wish I could put my finger on it, but that is not what we're looking for. So hopefully they'll be better this year. I'm praying the offense looks a little bit different. Now there's also always going to be things they're going to do. So you got Derrick Henry, so you know they're going to run a football. So you're not trying to tell you to be Mahomes, Kansas City type throwing the ball, but be real strategic in some of your combination and route combinations that you're running, and maybe throwing passes on downs maybe that are a little more unpredictable. And that's how you still reach your 50-50 mark, which is what I think they tried to do, which is a good balanced offense. And if they do that, then they believe, I think, that the receiving core that they have is good enough. And to a certain extent, it's I think it is capable. Yeah, but you're relying on Burks to turn into some form of A.J. Brown at times. Mm-hmm. He's never going to be A.J. Brown. Let's just get that out there. That's that. He's not going to be that. But he must not be on the field. He has to be on the field. He has to stay healthy, to be in shape for it all to work. Mm-hmm.
And Jaw in his own TV chat, I guess he's watching on YouTube, says, and this goes exactly to what you said a couple of minutes ago, he says, one injury to the wide receiver core, then what? Which is what you were talking about with Phillips earlier. Like, okay, yeah, he's doing better. I get it. Yeah, he's good. Okay, what if he doesn't come back? What if he's still hurt? What's the B plan? What's the B plan for any of those guys?
Well, that's when for the receivers, to me, that's a whole nother story. Yeah, they'll be in trouble. They'll rely on the tight ends. 5 yards in a cloud of dust.
Chig's got to get more than three targets a game or whatever the average was.
Yeah, so we shall see. It's going to be an interesting season, and we're looking at, and Vrabel is a real good coach. Don't get me wrong, he's a real good coach, but I think he's 2-3 in the playoffs, and he's lost his last 2 times he win. Not this year, guys. They didn't make it. So the last 2 times he lost in the first round or first game that they played in.
Yeah.
So, man, yeah, everybody goes, oh yeah, he'll get hired. Well, coaches always get hired and fired. It's the GMs that only get one shot. And the NFL is just a different. It's a game of. It's about winning. That's it. That's all that counts. The big turning point to me for Vrabel this season is, will he believe in his offense to put up more than you got to get to at least 25 points, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is not 1990, bro. Yeah, you can't rely on the defense every game. What's really supposed to happen is when you have a really solid team, is there's going to be games the defense doesn't play really well and the offense picks it up, and then the vice versa. You can't go into a season and say, well, our defenses are staple, and we're going to stop, because now this is an offensive league. You could come out there and they come out there and do something totally different than you game plan for. The next thing you know, you're down 21-0 right off the bat. So you got to build your team where you can come from behind. If you have to throw the ball more in the game, you have to be able to do that. You have to be able to attack teams differently. Here, turning the corner for Vrabel, that recipe of what he's been doing has worked magnificently in the regular season. Now, everybody says, oh, you got to run the football in the playoffs and you got to have good, solid defense. All true. But you're still forgetting you must be able to throw the football in critical situations. And pretty much you still try to stay that 50-50 because you're playing better teams, and the teams that are in the playoffs have better defenses. Right. You're not going to be able to run down people's throats. It's just not going to happen. So I think he needs to then let Tannehill or whoever's at the quarterback at that point in time when you get into the playoffs to throw the football a little bit more and get them out of whatever they game plan to stop the run. And then you attack them that way. Oh, okay, they always run on first down. I think that was a stat, right? How about this? Every other first down, throw the ball. It's not that hard. And guess what? I've been on the defensive side. And then you start saying, well, dang, man, they didn't do this. We've been studying the film. They never did this. Maybe we'll change a couple of our calls on the offense. And guess what? Then you come back and hit them with the run game. Bang. So, it's like checkers. I mean, no, chess. They were playing checkers. Everybody else was playing chess. Like, that was my whole thing. Everybody hated Downing. I did not hate Downing. I just he didn't make adjustments within the game. Once it started going in a different direction, he needed to avert and go to plan B. He never did it. That's the only quibble I had with him. I thought he had good game plans going into him. Watching him play.
Oh, yeah, they'd have good opening drives.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Which is something they had struggled with in the past. You mentioned 50-50 and trying to get to 50-50. So I had
every game because I feel like, oh man, they ran so much. And then when you look at the stat, you make it be like, nope, they ran 51 times to 49 third pass. What?
I would keep up with it every week. So the season
feel like that.
In 2022 on Earth in the National Football League on the planet Earth in the year of our Lord,
the one that's flat around.
It depends on if you're Kyrie or not. On the round Earth of 2022, a real thing that happened in the National Football League, which is every rule favors throwing the football because it's a TV show and they want people to watch. The Titans, they threw 456 passes and they ran it 487 times. They ran it more than they threw it.
Oh, so 30 more.
30 more times, essentially.
Oh, so they didn't meet their mark.
31 times. They ran it 31 more times than they threw it. In 2022 on Earth in the National Football League. And I know they have an identity.
You know why I think that happened?
Who the bleep are we going to throw it to? Isn't that what he said?
That's where I'm going. Malik played a couple of those games. Remember, they didn't even throw the ball, but less than 10 times in two of those games. Yeah, so that's when they ran more. Yeah. And that's what made the difference right there. I think if Tannehill was at quarterback, I think that number would be about right 50-50. Yep. They were running quarterback sweeps and all kinds of stuff. What happens with Malik Willis? Like now that we haven't addressed this. They drafted a guy in the second round. How many make the roster? And then do you risk cutting him? And then because there is no risk in your buy. He better show a huge leap. For all those hollering, Malik Willis should be starting. He may not even be on the roster.
Look at their recent history. They have 2 quarterbacks on the roster and 1 on the practice squad. That's what they do. 2 on the roster, 1 on the practice squad.
That means they're going to have to cut it.
They ain't cutting Will Levis.
They're not cutting Chestnut.
Hey,
That's
man.
Mickey's guy, running back, man. Everybody was like, why they keep Hey, Chestnut's pretty good.
He was roasting on an open fire a little while there in the preseason. He fumbled it, remember? And people were killing him. And then he got himself back together and made the squad.
I love what the coach did.
Yep.
Because I remember I made a bet. I said, Vrabel won't put him back in. But you saw the running back coach put him back in.
Tony
there.
Deuce, yeah.
Yep.
Well, at that time, yeah. Tony
Mhm.
Deuce.
Oh, man. If that was a regular season game, that was not happening.
Nope.
He went back out there and he recovered.
Yep.
That's what you need to do. You must fail and then recover. Then you'll see if you can actually recover from a failure. Just imagine the first time I got beat for a touchdown and coach yanked me out. And I'm just sitting there.
It's a shot.
Oh, man, I'm done. But naturally, I'll be over there. I was MFing myself when I got beat. I was yelling at him. That's never going to happen again. Wait, you throw it over here again.
I don't see any way a team that threw it more than it ran it in 2022 has 3 quarterbacks on its roster the next year.
Yeah,
3.
It's going to be an interesting one.
Sure is. It sure is. All right, when we come back, what did Ryan Tannehill say about the offense? He said it would be different. How much different? Let's play that for you next as we continue to effort UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson. If you know him, text him. Tell him to give us a shout.
Yeah, on a different time chain.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the Tennessee Titans, the Install Live Show with Greg Cosell of NFL Films coming up Saturday, May the 20th at the Hutton Hotel. Get your tickets right now at 1045thezone.com to hear the best breakdown of Will Levis.
Really, really excited and thankful for the opportunity.
If you're a fan of the Tennessee Titans, the Install Live Show with Greg Cosell of NFL Films coming up Saturday, May the 20th at the Hutton Hotel. Get your tickets right now at 1045thezone.com to hear the... If you're a fan of the Tennessee Titans, the Install Live Show with Greg Cosell of NFL Films coming up Saturday, May the 20th at the Hutton Hotel. Get your tickets right now at 1045thezone.com to hear the best breakdown of Will Levis
Really, really excited and thankful for the opportunity.
and the rest of the Titans draft class.
Blaine and Mickey rocking through a Wednesday afternoon. Again, supposed to have Jason Simpson on, the coach at UTM. Maybe you're a friend of his. Maybe y'all golf
He
with each
stood
other or
us up,
something. He
man.
stood us up. So text him and say, hey, man, these two knuckleheads are waiting for you to
Yeah,
call.
but I'm not going there.
You ruling that out, huh? You
Yeah, I'm
taking
ruling
that hat
out,
off
man.
the table.
I'm taking the hat off my table, man. He got me sharp, man. He got to at least call and say, hey, man, sorry about that.
I have 4 years of eligibility left. I could have spent them all there.
Oh,
but
dang, you do.
yeah, I'll probably just go to Arkansas State now.
Yeah, man. Great
all right.
time to talk about the Martin program, man.
That is true.
Dang.
Their quarterback got a free agent.
Yeah.
Dresser Win is his name.
Yeah, win. Yeah, his win is all I know. He's
Okay.
going with the win to the Rams.
I know.
He
Some
up there-
opportunity there.
What if he beats out Stetson Bennett? Mm-hmm.
But guess what? We'll get to see
Dare I
both of
say
them
that?
in the preseason. We'll get to see him and Stetson Bennett.
You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm be cheering for Bennett.
And no Matthew Stafford, because he'll just be like, have at it, boys. I'll be over here having a cold Gatorade.
Where's Baker Mayfield now?
Tampa.
No, he's
Tampa.
not. He's at Tampa. Oh,
Him
yeah,
and Kyle
yeah.
Trask.
Oh.
And they just signed
Oh.
Wolford, who was the
Wolford.
Rams' former number 3 or 2 even. He was the number 2 for the Rams for a while. He played some.
I'm making a prediction. Baker Mayfield wins the starting job over Kyle Trask. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm doing it.
I would side with you on that bet that Mayfield wins. That division is so eminently winnable. And nothing is more winnable than that. Yeah, that's it.
Ooh, I'm so glad the Titans are playing that. That's the NFC South, right?
And they are.
Yeah,
and they'll have this new
ooh,
offense
yes.
that Ryan Tannehill talked about just a few days ago. He said it's new. Listen to this.
It's new.
We have a lot of changes, yeah, and the whole system's pretty much different, including some protection stuff. So, we'll have a variety of different ways to get the ball out, whether that's getting the ball out quickly, normal drop back, or play actions like we've had. So, just like every offense in the NFL, you got different ways to attack the defense, and we want to use all of them.
What do you think?
That just gave me chills.
You were the first person to really start saying, did you guys listen to this press conference? They're all saying the offense is different.
Yeah, and I didn't really want to believe it. I just, oh, man, this is a breath of fresh air. Yes.
Is there more? Lucas says there's more. What else?
Tannehill talking about more specifically on Tim Kelly.
Okay.
With a couple of follow-ups.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a big difference, right? New terminology, new concepts, huge changes, but fresh line of thinking on things. So just having to get up to speed with how we're doing things, what we're calling things, different ways we're attacking the defense. And that's what we're doing right now, is using this time when we're not going against the defense to just try to learn the offense, get accustomed to the new terminology, the new terms, the new routes, and be able to translate that onto the field as we go.
What are you maybe most excited about in the framework of that?
There's a lot of excitement. I love working with Tim. Like I said, a fresh mind, bringing in some new ideas, new concepts, different ways to attack the defense, and we've had it around here the last few years. So, definitely some excitement there.
She kind of made it sound like tempo. Maybe tempo, maybe a little bit emphasized. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'd like to think so. We'll see as we get going, right? But we know we want to put pressure on the defense. That might be tempo, might be personnel changes, might be different sets than in personnels than defenses are typically seeing. So, a big emphasis, I think, is just putting pressure on the defense, not just tempo. There's a lot of ways you can do that, and that's one of those tools.
Yep. One thing he said, he didn't say it this one, he said it the one before. Is it just like all the other offenses in the NFL? Can you play the first one again one more time where he said, just like all the other offenses in the NFL?
Like the first follow-up or the very beginning of the entire
first
thing?
soundbite again.
First soundbite. Just play that one.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a big difference, right? New terminology, new concepts, huge changes, but, fresh line of thinking on things. So, just having to get up to speed with how we're doing things, what we're calling things, different ways we're attacking the defense. And that's what we're doing right now, is using this time when we're not going against the defense to just try to learn the offense, get accustomed to the new terminology, the new terms, the new routes, and be able to translate that onto the field as we go.
What are you maybe most excited about in the framework of that?
There's a lot of excitement. I love working with Tim. Like I said, a fresh mind, bringing in some new ideas, new concepts, different ways to attack the defense, and we've had it around here the last few years. So, definitely some excitement there.
She kind of made it sound like tempo.
I think he meant the first soundbite, not this.
Soundbite, ding dong.
The first soundbite, not the second soundbite with all the questions.
Like he said it before this. Yeah.
We have a lot of changes, yeah, and the whole system's pretty much different, including some protection stuff. So, we'll have a variety of different ways to get the ball out, whether that's getting the ball out quickly, normal drop back, or play actions like we've had. So, just like every offense in the NFL, you got different ways to attack the defense, and we want to use all of them.
We want to use all of them, just like every other offense in the NFL. It sounds like they have options for protections, and if they get in trouble in certain instances, unexpected blitz or pressure, there's other options to get out of that or to dump it down to somebody that got a safety valve is what we call that on defense, where at least you have a positive play, not a negative play, which how most of the offenses are running in the NFL. Yeah. So I'm giddy. I am. And that's why I think they have a decent, the receivers they have is good enough. I think they believe that. This change of offense and with the offensive line and with their running game and with Tannehill quarterback, I think they believe we can do fine at receiver. We don't have to have a superstar. Burks and Chick going to be our biggest superstars. So when you get in the playoffs. And then they're going to double them and take them out. Like, gone. But that's exciting. Yeah. People could downplay it all they want to. It's exciting. Did you hear Tannehill's voice? He was excited about the newness. He said, besides what we've been doing, this is how this is how you nicely throw a dagger to somebody. He says, yeah, it's totally different than what we've been doing the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. That's the dagger at the other coach. Yeah. Doing.
Well, we'll do things like other NFL offenses.
Yep. Ooh. I need to listen to this guy.
Hey,
he keeping it real this year. He's like, hey, man, what I got to lose?
100%.
What I got to lose?
He got nothing to lose.
I'm be nice, but I'm giving y'all facts.
All right, here's the facts. Them's the facts. Jason Simpson, the UT Martin coach, is set to join us at 2 o'clock. He called in, and he's going to call us at 2 o'clock. So we'll get on the horn with him. We'll talk about Colton Dowell, the new receiver. We'll get into all kinds of stuff. We'll chop it up with him. We'll do all that next.
What's their nickname?
It is 2 o'clock. Good afternoon from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. I'm Lucas Panzica. The NFL has announced the 2023 matchups that will take place in Europe, and the Tennessee Titans will face the Baltimore Ravens at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in Week 6, October 15th in London, England. The remainder of the 2023 NFL schedule will come out tomorrow evening. Tonight, Nashville Soccer Club hosting FC Dallas in the U.S. Open Cup, round of 32 at Geodis Park. Kickoff is at 7:30 in this elimination game. NSC Backstage hits the air live from the Zone at Geodis Park at 8 p.m. Also tonight in the NBA playoffs, the Heat trying to close out their Eastern Conference semifinal series against the Knicks. They have a 3-1 lead. That game's at 6:30. And the Lakers will try to do the same over the Warriors in the West at 9 p.m. NHL playoffs, the Panthers try to complete the sweep at home over the Maple Leafs at 6. And in the West, the Golden Knights and Oilers drop the puck at 9. Vegas leads 2-1. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once in your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. Welcome to hour number 2 of the Wednesday program, halfway through the week show, which means you're more than halfway through your week. That's why we call this the nexus of the sports talk universe. See, the phone is ringing. Luke is supposed to be getting UT Martin head coach Jason Simpson on the line with us. We had a little bit of a time trying to track this dude down. I got the off-season program going. Maybe he was running sprints or something with the guys. I don't know. We'll find out what he's been up to. But his receiver, Colton Dowell, local guy, taken 7th by the Tennessee Titans, and now we'll be joined by his coach, Jason Simpson. Coach, man, we've been trying to track you down this afternoon. You getting them coached up over there.
You got to give me some burpees, man.
Hey, guys, I apologize so bad. I had a recruit and his daddy in, and then a current player and his mom was in, and having to help them through some things, and so I certainly apologize.
Oh, man, yeah. We'll give you a break for that. Recruiting or the Blaine and Mickey show? Okay, we'll give you a break.
Absolutely. Hey, speaking of recruiting, let me just start with this. I saw a video with Colton, and it was basically like your school did it. It was on the school social media channels. And he said, they recruited me, talking about UT Martin. He talked about loyalty. He said, I did not have a catch going into my senior season. What in the world? You guys must be like...
And then he had tons of catches.
Yes, I mean, you guys must be fortune tellers like, here's a guy with no catches, but we feel good about this.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. I don't know that I knew that. I think that's the first time I'm hearing that.
Wait, we better fact check this. Mickey might have got that wrong, man. He might have looked at some other Colton Dowell.
He said it about his own self in the video. I thought, man, Jason Simpson is a man who sees the future.
Well, he believed it. He saw something nobody else saw.
That's what you did, Coach. So I hope you used that to recruit this guy that you missed us talking to earlier.
Man, I did not know that either.
No, I tell you what, I do remember. Of course, that was, 7 years ago. And we were very fortunate to get Colton. I think he was probably going to go to Chattanooga. And then Russ Huesman left to go to Richmond and to take the head coaching job. And I think I had some buddies that who went on that Chattanooga staff, and I believe, they just wasn't real sure about the hands coming out of high school. And, we were convinced that we were. And I remember going to Wilson Central High School, and Russ Huesman walked out. He had been visiting with Colton, his dad, and walks out and looks at me and says, I think you're going to get him because, he doesn't want to go that far away from home. So that's the story of how he ended up here at UT Martin.
Well, and you mentioned being with him for all those years. I mean, once you put some stuff on tape, we know how things are now with the transfer portal and everything. He didn't leave you. He stuck with you.
No, guys, I will tell you what, that is one of the neatest things to be a part of. Mr. Dowell, Colton's dad, who's a retired fire chief there in the Lebanon area, he came to a lot of practices and a lot of scrimmages and, sit in the stands, and he and I would always, talk before the scrimmage or after the scrimmage, and just a wonderful man, him and his family. And after year 4, or maybe it was after Colton's 5th year, he'd already graduated. And I remember going to him and saying, after a scrimmage, and I said, Mr. Dowell, hey, I'm not mad if Colton goes in the portal. I get it. He's met his obligation here with me. with us. He's graduated. He's done everything we asked him to do. I understand. And he said, no way, Coach. He said, he's loyal to you. He's loyal to UT Martin. He's going to see this thing through. And, and I'm not saying he would have been wrong if he would have done it the other way, but that meant a lot to me, and I'll always, be a Colton Dowell fan and a Dowell fan in general.
Talking with Coach Jason Simpson. He is at Coach_J Simpson, UTM football.
Well, Coach, you hear so much about Colton Dowell as a person. Kind of tell us who Colton Dowell was when he got there, and then who he is today after leaving, UT Martin.
Well, actually, very, very raw when he got here. Great body, almost 6'3". Colton, matter of fact, our quarterback, Dresser Wynn, I'm watching him out my window here throw. He's getting ready to leave tomorrow to go to minicamp with the Rams.
Yeah, we saw that.
And, him and Colton came in together, okay? And we were going back watching some freshman tape of him. Now, Colton was redshirted the first year and Dresser played. But we also saw we found Colton's first touchdown catch. And they videoed on their phone. They sent it to him, and, having a good time with it. Him and Dresser both were really raw when they first got here, which is very, understandable.
Typical.
For, when you get FCS guys in their bodies that play early like this, that turn into the good players that they are. They're raw. To be honest with you, that's how we got them. And so he was a guy that was like a big thoroughbred that, was just figuring out how to run routes, how to get in and out of cuts, how to catch it in traffic. But certainly the athletic ability, the athleticism and the power was there.
Yeah, no doubt. We're on with Coach Jason Simpson here at UT Martin, the head coach, by the way. I guess give us some attributes about him as receiver, because I watched some video of him, and I was impressed. I remember they played Tennessee a couple years ago, and he kind of dominated that game as well. But him coming out of his breaks as a tall receiver really impressed me. What were some of the things that kind of stood out to you, throughout his career there, especially his last year when he was, dominating probably every game he played?
Yeah, guys, like I said, you don't really realize when you watch him run routes that he is, 6'3", okay, because of his I've never really considered Colton a tall receiver until you see him go up and body somebody up. And then the guy had a 40.5-inch vertical, his pro day. The guy did 225, 23 times. He 11-1 broad jump, okay, and he runs 4.41, okay. So you put that at 6'3", and a guy that likes contact, and a guy's not afraid to block, not afraid to go across the middle. And Blaine, there's not a team we played against in his tenure here that he doesn't run past their corners. Okay, and I can't tell you how many of them. There's probably not a whole lot of NFL guys maybe that he went up against. Okay, but against Knoxville, against Boise State, I forget the other Power Fives we played in his tenure. You always knew when in doubt. Okay, if we could ever get single coverage on him in man or zone, right? Run no matter what, run vertical, take 3-step drop, and throw it to Colton. You had a 50-50 chance of him realistically coming down with the ball.
No doubt about it. Well, Coach, I'm going to give you an opportunity with Coach Simpson, head coach of UT Martin. I guess tell us why someone should go, some high school kid graduate should go to UT Martin.
Oh, I appreciate that opportunity. You know what? First of all, it's a University of Tennessee degree, guys. Okay, same degree as as Peyton Manning's got on his wall, right? So there's 500,000 of alumni in the world with the University of Tennessee degree. Here at Martin, I've been very blessed as the head coach to be here going on my 18th season. Yeah. So the stability of the head coaching position is something that a player, can rely on for their development. We've had roughly 40 guys sign some version of NFL contracts or Canadian League contracts in our 18 years. And actually from a skill position, very proud of this. During Colton Dowell's tenure here, over a 5-year period in that wide receiver room, all right, we had 5 professional players come out of that receiver room. Terry Williams and Peyton Logan now are returners in the Canadian Football League. All right, there's only 9 Canadian League teams, and 2 of them have UT Martin returners. on the starting returners. Jalen Moore is in his 4th year with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Rodney Williams is in his 2nd year with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now Colton drafted, so those 5 guys were all in the same receiver room here at UT Martin 5 years ago.
There you have it. Coach Simpson from UT Martin, head coach.
Coach, several people have reached out to Lucas, who is our producer, and sent us messages, and they said, because I know we're in Tennessee, but we have Alabama fans here, and they said, ask Coach if he can give us an update on his son, Ty, who is in Alabama.
Like, he go give some insight.
Whatever insight you want to give, Coach. People are very concerned about the young man who you birthed and raised and how he is fighting for a starting job down there with Coach Saban.
Yeah, they're really concerned why he didn't go to UT, man. That's what it is.
Hey, I tell you what, I'm actually, like I said, watching out my window here, and Ty and Dresser are out here throwing. Ty hurt his thumb in the spring games, but so it's been a couple of weeks, and he's been able to pick up a ball. But no, he's doing fine and working on some things to try to improve his game, and looking forward to getting back to Tuscaloosa for the June semester.
You know, there's all this talk about tampering and everything now in pro sports, but you know, I guess you can't be like, hey, if you ever wanted to move back in your old room and, come back here and play for Dad, you got to watch that, huh?
Hey, I may have to save that until they tell me I got to win X amount of games here. It's good to have maybe an ace in the hole one day.
Well, he is definitely an ace. We're looking forward to watching him get more time down there and continuing to watch your teams as well, Coach. Jason Simpson with UT Martin.
I guess to finish up, Coach, I guess kind of take us through being a head coach and then having your son actually go through that process. You know it better than most parents. Kind of explain what that process should be like and what they should be looking for in making that decision. Not your personal decision, but just in general, if you want to give advice to parents.
No, you know what? That's a great, and you've gone through it, so and as a dad, no, it is different than what you as a player, me as a former player, than me as a current head coach. I tell you what, my coaches would always, when I would go on Ty with different visits and stuff, and I would always come back and, have different things that I would pick up, from another program recruiting, like, hey, just because the player's on offense, make sure that every coach in this building says hello to every recruit that's in the building, not just the defensive guys to the defensive players and vice versa, But, I think you have to be realistic of, of a player that gets early offers. A lot of those aren't committable, right? Mm-hmm. They're just badges of honor. Okay, and that's to take nothing away from those, but nobody knows what a kid in the 8th grade is going to turn into, or the 9th grade. All right, that's one thing. The next thing is, my wife and I told Ty, I said, write down the things that are important to you picking a school. Okay, so when he did that, in the 9th or 10th grade, those things shifted in the order of importance by the time he got to his junior year. Okay, as he matured and as he got older, okay, it wasn't just the stadium size. It wasn't just, was it Nike or Adidas? It wasn't just, what league they were in. Things he had, grown himself, and like kids do, and they're able to put things in perspective order. And I just think as a parent, you keep an eye on that and keep them in the right direction. I think at the end of the day, the kids, for the most part, will take the personality of the parents to the certain extent of what their goals and dreams are, because they know that the parents have got nothing but their best interest in mind.
There you have it. Coach Simpson there from UT Martin, head coach, man. Appreciate you, Coach.
Yes, sir, Coach. We'll let you get back to that recruit and his family and watching your guys get their throws in on the field below you. Thanks for the time today. We appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, guys, and I appreciate what you do and appreciate you covering Colton Dowell. I think the Titan fans will be proud of him. We're Titan fans, and we'll be rooting for him. Hey, how about this? There's also 2 former UT Martin coaches on the staff for the Titans, Matt Jones, assistant offensive line coach, and Clint McMillan, assistant defensive line coach. So we're proud of those guys as well.
The Skyhawk Pacers are taking over the world, Coach.
Oh, my.
That's the way it's going. Hey, thank you for the time.
You producing players and coaches.
The cradle of coaches down in Martin with Coach Simpson. Thank you, sir.
Hey, that just means hire guys smarter than yourself.
No doubt.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jason Simpson at Coach_J Simpson. All right, when we come back, let's keep the guest parade going. Joel Corey, longtime sports agent. We got lots to get to, including this Andrew Luck thing and how long does your contract last after it expires and you're somebody else's football property. We have questions, and he has answers. That's next. Blaine and Mickey hanging out on a Wednesday with you. Thanks for hanging out with us. Check us out on Twitter at Blaine and Mickey. Check us out on Instagram. It's the same, at Blaine and Mickey. Lots of great content there, including probably see a piece of this interview sometime on there. Joel Corey, who joins us now, always answers the phone when we call him. We appreciate it. At Corey Joel on Twitter. Former sports agent now with a whole lot of places doing great work, including CBS Sports. Joel, how you doing today, man? Thanks for checking in.
Oh, I'm doing well. How you doing?
We're doing great. Listen, anytime we have agent questions, your name comes up. So we're like, hey, will you call Joel? Because we can't figure this out, and we know that he'll know the answer. So here was the latest thing that sort of rabbit-holed us into, like, we know one guy to call to answer this question. So Andrew Luck retires. He has time left on his contract. We're beyond the time that was left on his contract, yet we learned that the Commanders had contacted him last year, which was still beyond the time of his contract. Jim Irsay, I guess, sees a tweet by Pro Football Talk and said, if anybody talks to him, he's still our football property. I'm going to get you for tampering. So how does that work once you leave, once you retire? I guess I always thought if your term was up, then you could go on somewhere else. So it's not that way?
No, typically you go on the reserve retired list and your contract tolls. So unless the team decides to release you from the reserve retired list, then they keep your rights. Because there have been times where teams are released. I've seen a transaction. I got retired 5 years ago. They just released him from the reserve retired list. So they still have his rights. So tampering would apply if you're going to contact him because he's still technically their property, so to speak. I don't like really using that word, but they still have the rights to have him play football if he wants to come back. If he comes back, then they'd have to either reinstate him to his contract as it existed. And if they didn't have the cap room, release him or trade him like the Patriots did Rob Gronkowski after his 1 year hiatus when he came back. And it was pretty clear that he was never going to play for the Patriots, and they decided to move on, particularly with his buddy Tom Brady going to Tampa.
Get clarity for me. Is contacting, reaching out to their agent and asking them, is he available? What is actually the word? Kind of, I know it's semantics, but to me, I don't know if that's called tampering or not. Because I'm assuming that's what he did. I don't think they actually called Andrew Luck personally.
Well, technically, under the league's tampering policy, that would qualify.
Okay.
Because any public or private statement of interest, qualified or unqualified, in another club's player or to that player's agent or representative or to the member of the news media is a violation, is what the policy states. So technically, that would be a violation. What you do with that is probably next to nothing besides, hey, knock it off, don't contact him again. I remember an interesting case about 20 years ago with a guy on reserve retired list. Deion Sanders had retired, was working for CBS. The Redskins were the last team he played for. The Raiders had injuries at cornerback. They wanted him, but he had to be released from the, Commanders reserve retired list. They released him it was late in the year, so he was subject to waivers at that point. Multiple teams put in waiver claims, so the Raiders couldn't get him, which is the year they lost the Super Bowl to the Buccaneers. So the Chargers ended up claiming him, and Deion was like, I'm not coming out to play for you guys. I was potentially going to play for a Super Bowl team. That's not you.
Ooh. Chess, not checkers there.
Dang. So how did he end up with the Ravens then? I'm assuming that's the team, right? Or no?
No. He went Ravens, then Raiders, if I remember correctly. I mean, Ravens, then Commanders.
Oh, okay.
So how far down the road do you think Jim Irsay will be willing to push this? And I ask because we just saw something happen with the Cardinals and a coach and the Eagles, and they actually wound up settling it by flip-flopping draft picks, and it got them like 20-something rungs up the ladder on the draft. I would think a lot of teams would be like, wait, we can get something for tampering? Let's see if we can push this a little bit.
I don't know if he's really going to push this any farther than just a warning shot, but he was the guy who was vocal when no other owner was vocal about needing to push out Dan Snyder. So you never know with him.
Joel Corey, our guest at Corey Joel on Twitter, sports agent, and now talking about all this stuff with us and doing it on CBS Sports.
Well, Joe, being that you're a former sports agent, do contracts and salary cap and everything else, I kind of delve a little bit into Lamar Jackson's contract and kind of give us some nuggets of some things that kind of piqued your interest that he got or didn't get or receive in his contract that maybe us commoners don't really know or understand.
Well, the first thing he did was he did a better job by waiting than if he'd done a job in 2021 when Josh Allen signed for $43 million per year. Had he signed back then, at best he's probably $43.5 million per year. So he's now at 52 on his average. So to me, you've more than made the money that you potentially would have lost by doing a deal sooner rather than later because you're $8.5 million ahead. So that was great on his part. I think he was kind of pigeonholed into a 5-year deal from the standpoint that all the other high-end quarterback deals had come in at 5 years since then. You had Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson all come in, giving up 5 years, 5 new years. So he was kind of stuck there. Preferably you do a 4. If you're trying to maximize your career earnings and get as many bites of the apple as possible. He's got a no franchise transition tag clause in his contract. So they can't put another tag on him if he played out the deal through 2027. So in essence, if they really want him, they got to get a deal done in 2027 with him. So it's really going to be a 4-year deal at most. The only other high-end quarterback with one of those is Dak Prescott. Now, if Lamar wants to push his quest for a fully guaranteed contract, again, after he now has lifetime security of this deal, he'll play it out in 2020, play out the deal 2027, hit the market in 2028, and then see if on the open market somebody will give him a fully guaranteed contract. Now, what I didn't like, and I'm nitpicking a little bit, is the cash flow is not quite what I thought it would be relative to some of the other quarterback deals in terms of percentage of cash through the first, second, and third year. One thing that sticks out to me is Roquan Smith has a higher percentage of cash through his second year than Lamar, 45 to 43.27. Shouldn't happen when Lamar's a quarterback and Roquan is the highest paid off-ball linebacker. The cash flow percentages are the same after years 3 and 4, 60 and 80%. Should be tilted a little more in Lamar's favor. One other thing I would have liked to have seen is, and these are all minor relative to the job he did, is in the 5th year have a March roster bonus, which all the other highest paid guys on the team have. Mark Andrews, Roquan, Marlon Humphrey, and Ronnie Stanley. And that would force, if it was substantial enough, it would force the Ravens to do a deal before the start of the 2027 league year, as opposed to potentially having the luxury of time, since most of his money is in his base salary, because his base salary that year is $51.25 million. But overall, I don't think you can really criticize Lamar Jackson for the job he did without an agent.
Yes. Now, speaking of that, do you know who actually negotiated this contract for Lamar Jackson? Was it actually Lamar or his mother or some lawyer friend, or you have no idea?
I don't know if they have someone who was really experienced who was behind the scenes helping them. I know that the NFLPA was involved to some degree. I don't know how heavily. I think my understanding is that the push for the fully guaranteed contract was coming from the NFLPA. To me, he did the right thing. When you've got that type of money on the table and you've made basically $30 million, which is a lot of money by real life standards, by NFL standards, it isn't. And you're going to make more on your franchise tag than you made in your whole 5-year career. That's not the time to push for the fully guaranteed contract. Get your first big deal done, and if you want to do it then, go ahead.
Well, to ask about a couple other quarterbacks, because you mentioned one of them, Dak Prescott, I saw may get an extension, and then I just heard the other day, deservedly so, Mahomes may get a redo. So what would that look like?
Yeah.
Especially with Herbert and Burrow still yet to get paid yet.
Well, Burrow and Herbert are the next two up. I expect both of them to top Lamar's average of $52 million per year, because high-end contracts are made to be surpassed. The ink was barely dry on Jalen Hurts' deal before Lamar overtook him. So the same is going to happen with these two guys. They'll go past the $52 million. Right before the draft, Brett Veach, the Chiefs general manager, said that they would probably have to reassess Mahomes' contract after a couple other deals in the market get done, meaning Burrow and Herbert. Thing is, he's in year one. He's finished year one of his 10-year extension. That's the problem with doing a 10-year extension. The market changed so rapidly on him, which was unexpected, that he's now 7th in average per year and will be 9th after these guys get done. His deal was 28% more than Russell Wilson, who was the highest paid guy. So you expected that thing to have a little bit of staying power, and it didn't. With 9 years left, I don't know if they're going to tack more years on at the end, give him an extension, or they're going to do what the Rams did with Aaron Donald. He had 3 years left on his contract. He clearly had outperformed it. That's the first time I've ever seen a team treat it like he didn't have any years left. He's still under contract for 3 years, but they just redid the deal. You got 9 years left. They're probably going to have to add new money throughout the deal, throughout the existing years, if they don't add new years to the deal. But it was backloaded to begin with, which gave the Chiefs flexibility to add more talent. But clearly Mahomes' objective wasn't maximizing career earnings, or you don't do that deal. We'll see if it gets done this year or next year. And with Dak Prescott, as long as he stops throwing the ball to the other team next offseason, he's going to hit them over the head. They might as well back up 2 Brinks trucks for him. He has that no franchise tag clause, so if he can return to his 2021 form, his cap number is almost $60 million, and if he doesn't play well, the dead money or the cap charge, if they released him, is $62. So he has the Cowboys over a barrel. So if he wants to be the highest paid player, he can probably make a case for it if he reverts to his 2021 form. I mean, if they win a Super Bowl, then he can probably name his own price.
Man, Joel Corey, keeping it real with these contracts for quarterbacks. Writes for CBS Sports, as well as former sports agent, NFL contract salary cap expert.
And actually, along those lines, the article that's coming out later today is, what would a Patrick Holmes type contract look like if someone else did it again? Potentially Joe Burrow, who I had in mind, because Mike Brown has made comments that he likes what the Chiefs did of Mahomes, and Jamar Chase said something Super Bowl week that Joe and they played together at LSU, so that's his boy. So he made a comment that Joe wants to keep the other pieces around him.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily going to be someone who's looking for every last dollar, but don't forget, Mahomes was almost 30% more than the existing market. So if you did a 10-year extension, even though it was going to be cash flow not great for Mahomes, you're talking like $650 to $675 million over 10 years in order to do something which would be the equivalent of what Mahomes did in 2020.
Ooh. Now I'm going to ask real quick. You just made me think of something. I don't want to cut it in. Can you, in the NFL, pay someone 20 years down the road and structure the contract that way, even though they're not playing, but naturally?
You mean do a 20-year deal?
Yeah, kind of like Bobby Bonilla.
Oh, with the deferred money?
Yes.
That typically doesn't happen, because then there'd be a present value amount to that. Because I remember years ago, back when the cap first started, Dallas had signing bonuses of Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith, where they were either going to get the present value of a lump sum, or they were going to have a deferred signing bonus, which was paid out over an extended period of time. I forget how many years. But they chose the present value of the lump sum. The problem is that if you did it where that money, but the money was fully guaranteed. Now, if you made that money fully guaranteed way down the road, then the funding rule comes into effect, where you got to stick that money in escrow. And what owner is going to want to tie up money that's going to be years down the road? and not have use of it. They got rich for a reason.
Yeah. Money always working. There you go, Joel Cord.
Joel, what do you think is the future or the continued evolution of the concept of guaranteed money and NFL contracts, which there used to be no guaranteed money other than your signing bonus, but where are we ultimately headed with that?
Well, we've staved off the fully guaranteed contract for now.
Yeah.
Lamar not getting it. It's the same thing that happened when Cousins got his contract in 2018. The next two guys couldn't follow up, Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan. Nobody else did until the unique circumstances with Deshaun Watson. You didn't have anyone follow up right after him. Kyler Murray was never getting it from the Cardinals, family-run team, which isn't a cash-rich team.
Yeah.
I thought Russell Wilson was the best bet because you had to change in ownership, and that's Walmart money, so that's very deep pockets. And nobody helped Lamar this year. Jalen Hurts didn't. If he had waited, the Bengals weren't going to help, family-run team. And Herbert wasn't going to help, family-run team. So it's staved off for now. You're going to have to probably do what Cousins did, which is play on two tags, hit the open market, and then go from there. Prescott, if he wants to take it to its logical conclusion, could get that if he plays well this year. Hypothetically, let's say they can't franchise him, so he plays out his final year of his contract. Instead of getting an extension in the contract year, then in 2024, he's free. And if Dak Prescott's played really well, then on the open market, someone would probably give him a fully guaranteed contract. I don't know if it's 3 years, 4 years, or 5 years, but that's going to be the way you get it. But I suspect he likes being the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, and he's going to do an extension next year. So I don't know who the next guy is going to be.
Joel, thank you, man. Oh, we got one more?
Yeah, one quick, I guess, tell us a little bit about the first two picks of the draft, the quarterbacks. Are their contracts set, or has that kind of changed over time with the number one and number two picks of the draft?
No, they're still set. The rookie wage scale makes it so there's really not much to negotiate. The dollar amounts are set. What's going to be the big sticking point is whether they can get the signing bonus paid in a lump sum. That's been something which has been a new phenomenon near the top of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers have never paid a signing bonus in a lump sum. So you may not see this deal get done quickly. There's an interesting dynamic with the Texans. If Bryce Young gets a lump sum contract, goes for a lump sum signing bonus, C.J. Stroud's going to want one.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got the guy sitting at number 3, Will Anderson. So if they do it for number 2, the number 3 is going to want it as well. So if these get most contracts, there's one first-round pick done, Jalen Carter, and these things are going to be done on a much faster scale than before. So if these drag out, it's over the payout of the signing bonus, not the amount of the dollars in the contract.
Gotcha. Appreciate it.
Joel, just great stuff as always, man. Thank you for the time. We know how busy you are, and you mentioned you got new stuff coming out at CBS.com, so people need to check there for updates, and your Twitter at Corey Joel. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Appreciate it, Joe.
Always good to get him on, man. That dude's got info on top of info. All right, the NFL is doing something. We found out today that it is never done. Never done. They're doing it. And could this lead to them doing more of this particular something? I'll pose that question to the panel next.
What you talking about, Willis?
Blaine and Mickey, 104.5 The Zone. London calling. The Titans headed to play Lamar Jackson in his fancy new contract. October 15th. That is week 6. So it's Falcons versus Jags on week 5. Then the Jags, they got to keep their hotel rooms and play another one over there.
Yeah, they're saying 2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks in a row at Bills, and then Ravens at Titans week 6, and then week 9, the Dolphins swim over and play the Chiefs in Frankfurt, Germany, and then the Colts versus the Patriots week 10 in Frankfurt, Germany.
Tyreek Hill, Dolphins versus the Chiefs, former team.
Oh, me like it.
Oh, me homies.
That's the best game in Europe this year, right?
The NFL doesn't even mess around at all. It's like, we'll just have Tyreek play the Chiefs then, and we'll send it to Germany. So we'll take it off American soil and export that game.
Yeah, we take
and Americans can just watch it on TV whenever it's going to come on at 7 in the morning or whatever that's going to be, because it'll be a weird time here. But we'll all watch just because we're
on what
addicted
channel?
to
We
it.
have no idea.
No, we need to.
Do you understand this TV cry?
We need to get further into this tomorrow, because we were talking about this in the break. For the entirety of our lives, the NFL has, like, the AFC is on one network and the NFC is on another. And then, ESPN or ABC have Monday Night Football. But it sounds like now all games are wide open to go anywhere.
I wonder if this is because Fox usually gets NFC games, right?
Yeah. And CBS has been carrying the AFC games.
And look at the disparity of quarterbacks between the AFC and NFC.
Exactly what
There's
we were
no
talking
way if
about.
I'm a network that I'm giving up the AFC.
If I was the AFC, I'd be like, are you crazy?
Yeah.
No Fox.
How did the NFL be able to do this?
But the NFC maybe is causing a ruckus. Like, we get Jalen Hurts and who else?
Yeah. Kyle Trask and
the
Baker
contracts
Mayfield
had to-
battling it out.
The contracts had to be up, or they had to have some options in the actual contracts to do this.
So included in this, something that they've never done, the NFL is playing a Black Friday game on November 24th.
And that's when the Titans going to wear black jerseys.
So that would be something if they did. So they're going to play 3 games on Thursday and then a game on Friday, and people are mad. So I saw somebody in the chat earlier, that's going to kill the weekend slate. It won't. It's the NFL. It doesn't matter what they put on. We're all going to watch. Okay, after COVID, we had this discussion. They're going to start putting games on more nights because they kept having to move games around. Remember, the Titans played on, a Tuesday? Yeah. And we thought
it was a case study.
Everybody
thought, it's because of COVID. No, it was a case
it's
study.
because they could. It's because they could. So this Black Friday game, this feels like, to me, they're just cracking the door open, and they're just, at some point, it has to be funny to them. Like, we just act like we try stuff randomly. Like you said, there's no random with billionaires. They don't have random. We're going to put one on Friday.
Very strategic. Yeah.
There's usually a lot of really good college football on Black Friday.
Yep.
Well,
and guess
Bowl,
what?
right?
There's really good high school football games on Friday, guys. So, man, some parents going to be up there watching the game in the stands, man, live, or they're going to have a DVR on.
Well, at that point, you'd be almost at the end of the
high school game.
The playoffs.
Yeah, if you're playing Black Friday in high school football, you're contending for a state. You're playing probably to get to the state championship.
So
or to get to the semifinals, one or the other.
That's big games. Yeah. That's the biggest of games.
Like high school coaches always tell me, you want to be practicing on Thanksgiving.
Yep. So Black Friday. So they're going to be like, we can do this. Put one on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Morning Saturdays in London or wherever.
Well, that's the biggest okey doke of all time. The greatest okey doke that the NFL has pulled on all of us is this. Like you just said. So let me get this straight. What are they, like 6 hours ahead? So it's regular time in London, let's say, but it's 8 in the morning here. So we can play a game at 8 o'clock and then noon and then 3. And then we just gotcha. We all got again.
Oh, man.
The Europe thing is not only for Europe, but it's also to give us an 8 a.m. game in America.
Yeah.
And
I always wake up and like, oh, man, it's a game on? Because I always forgot about the game unless it was the Titans. And that was
we're sitting here doing the pregame for road games. It's like, we got the game on, which I have to log into this TV now, but there's nothing like it.
What about for West Coasters?
Oh,
It's an early game.
Hey, man, 4 a.m. Strap it on. Let's get ready. Here we go.
That's a tough sell there, but they don't give a rat's you know what.
And like in Hawaii, it would still be the previous day. I mean, you're going to need a time machine to watch.
Yep, that's what everybody's going to see us tomorrow right there.
Tua's playing in Europe. They're going to be watching in Hawaii.
It'd be Saturday night, Tua. All right, it's not Saturday night, but it is the end of our Wednesday program. We got to go. 3HL is next. We're looking for our time machine.
But in the meantime,
In between time,
Peace.